Live now. Hey, hello, and you're listening to Let's Drain Out 141. So we're 9 more episodes to the big 150. Tonight we are joined by Andy RC.
Hello.
Joined once again by the wonderful NJ. Loads of people have been asking where you are.
Hello, I'm still alive. I'm back. I'm back.
Yay! And we are also joined by Curry Kitten.
Hello.
And my little French ragamuffin.
Bonjour.
And I'm Bright Till I Fly.
I've noticed a lot of us seem to be adapting this hands up thing when we say hello.
Really contagious.
I feel like it's catching. Yeah.
It's Reddit.
Curry's fault.
You try sitting in that chair and not doing it. There's something about having a Bixler behind you that just makes you do that.
I have to do it.
Yeah, my camera. So we were supposed to have R2K on, and that hasn't happened.
Next week, apparently.
Next week's going to happen. In between that, we'll have the live show.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so you guys.
Did I not do that?
Are not all the shows live? I'm confused.
No, like the live, they can throw stuff at us when we're that shit.
Oh, take your vegetables, your rotten eggs and stuff.
Perhaps we should have Andy like put a cage up or something. Then it's just like no difference then.
Like one of those like spaghetti western bars.
Yeah, exactly. So before we went live, we're actually starting to have a conversation about the Emax Hawk 5 because NJ's got it and he's just flown it.
Yes.
So what do you think?
So yeah, this turned up right before I disappeared, and that was quite annoying. So I was like, I really want to get out and fly this because I got it. I think I was probably one of the first to get it, and then now I'm going to be the last person to review it. But I've tried not to watch. I've seen Andy's review, but I haven't watched anyone else's because I don't want to have anything change my opinion. But it's brilliant, and I think part and parcel of why this is brilliant is the amount of work they've done getting you a flight controller that's not only on the latest Betaflight, but it is so well configured. That's probably the first I've ever got out the box, and I've been so impressed with the tune. I mean, there's always room for a little bit of improvement, but generally speaking, just looking at the numbers, I knew they were going to be roughly right. So yeah, very, very impressed with the way that flies indeed. So
that's a pretty hefty angle you've got on that. What's that GoPro mount? Because
45.
It doesn't come with a GoPro mount.
So that is the GoPro mount which I robbed off it's the Ghost print, which you can download and print off Thingiverse.
Oh, as in the Mode 2 Ghost.
Yes, and it happens to fit that.
I got one here, so yeah. I've been building one. I got this down to 205 grams. It's going to be a monster.
I think that's what people were racing with at the Multi GP on Sunday, and they're so quick.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the Mode 2 or the Hawks 5?
The Mode 2, but my mate's got a Hawk 5 and he swears by it. It looks really nice in the air as well.
It flies great. It's tuned really well. It's built very solid. I love the skinny arms that are 5mm, so you've got that kind of tank quality, but you know the arms get out the way of the props, which is really nice. And yeah, it's floaty. It just performed great. I was really happy with the flight performance of that. There's very little although the only thing I will complain about, reviewers curse again, is I've got the most hilarious sounding buzzer. The one that came with it is, let me power it.
Is anything touching it, NJ, or anything like that?
Can you hear that?
Got a beatbox.
Give it a whack.
It's yeah, I've done that. I've prodded it and mucked around with it, but yeah, that's
I've had a couple of those. It's funny, isn't it? I guess they're just cheap and there's no QC. I've got one. Yeah, it just resonates. I guess you could say it still works though.
Yeah, I'll probably switch to the motor beeping, I think, just to be on the safe side, because I think only dogs with very high pitch hearing are actually going to pick that up. But yeah, brilliant. As I said, the only thing I would have I think they missed the trick was not because it's just a large version of the Baby Hawk, was to call it the Big Baby. I thought they should have done that myself. But
what do you reckon about the it's really odd because it's got so much power, but it shouldn't have. They're only 2300 kV motors. They're like a 2206, so fairly low in torque. So
Yeah.
I think the props are doing a lot of the work, which surprised me.
They are. It's definitely amp hungry. It's not nearly as efficient as my Archon, which is a much heavier build, albeit on much more premium motors. But I completely agree with you. I think they've done a lot of work in the props to make up for the lack of torque in the motors. So it's well matched. I wouldn't mess with it and change props and stuff. It's well matched. But I certainly found that actually the low end grunt was quite nice, which is surprising because it's not a great torquey motor, which again is made up by the prop. So the stopping power at low RPM when you're hitting the deck hard and leveling off is actually good. That felt really nice. Where it lacked for me was the top end. The top sort of quarter of the throttle felt a bit non-specific and a bit mushy. But I really can't take it. For a bind and fly, that's amazing. Like I would have no hesitation in recommending that.
Do you think
how much is that UK?
200 and something, is it?
I think it's 189 pounds.
Oh, wow.
I think.
Yes, that's a steal.
That's like, you might as well just buy that. Do you reckon it'd be a good racer?
Definitely. I mean,
it is a racer, really, isn't it? It's not really a freestyle model, actually. Or would you?
Freestyle's great. I mean, that was my first flight tonight, like an hour ago. Well, I was saying it's been about 8 weeks.
Do you freestyle with 45 degrees on your camera?
Some do. Yeah, those I do because they're the light quads. I have to add more angle because they're lighter. They lack the inertia. And I find they just tend to wash off speed too quickly if I don't have the heavy angle, even on a 2.1 lens. So less angle on the Archon, which is a heavier build, but on those and also that other ditone prototype racer, that's saying 45 on both of those.
Wow, yeah, because I'm seeing now a lot of the GoPro mounts for freestyle are coming out at like 20 degrees, and when I flew with these guys, they're using 25 to 30, and I tried to go up like 45, 50 on mine, and the footage just came out terrible. But I imagine a lot of it's to do with your talent of flying and my lack of, probably.
It's interesting. You do have to make an adjustment because things like the Archon being a bit heavier. I'm not sure actually if Bloods is in the chat. He'll be able to. You can see that's not 45 at all.
In the chat.
So Bloods will tell you what that is, 30 something probably. Yeah. But because you've got that extra inertia, once you set your forward angle, it just carries and just tracks beautifully. With the lighter quads, if you're at that angle, that speed will just wash off really quickly, and you have to jam it forward a bit. So if you're running at an angle like this on something incredibly light, you just spend the whole flight staring at the floor, even on a wide angle. So that's kind of I mean, this is the feel. I generally prefer heavier quads for freestyle because I just like the way they feel.
And you've got the props out of shot as well with the arms.
With the arms like that. So really, I'm just trying to mimic the feel of this on a lighter quad by getting the angle up. Where it does mess with you though is the fact that you end up with needing to make piloting adjustments to certain maneuvers like inverted yaw spins. All of a sudden you have to tip a little bit further to get the yaw to actually pancake nice and level. Otherwise you go for a yaw spin and it sort of ends up looking diagonal and a bit weird.
It depends how fast you are at a freestyle pilot. I fly quite slow freestyle.
Yeah, so I'm not it depends on the area, to be honest with you. When I'm flying out in my local testing ground where it's incredibly flat and there's only a few trees and you've got nothing in the way, you tend to fly very fast, and you'll go through the battery quicker. In some of the spots I've been more recently, well, I say more recently, the last time I was doing a lot of YouTubing stuff, whereas a lot of close proximity stuff, then you're kind of a little more conservative and trying to be careful. You're not jamming the throttle everywhere. And even on the Archon, on those instances, I was getting between 4 and 5 minute flights on a 1500 milliamp battery. But yet this little light thing down at my local field where I can open the throttle up a bit, 3 minutes.
Have you seen the pitch on them props though?
What the Emax ones, the Advanced?
Yeah.
Well, they're a little bit deceptive because they're very steep at the root.
Yeah,
but
they
you got to remember
taper
that.
out.
They do fade
Yeah.
out quick, yeah.
But,
I
but
think they actually
remember,
say, don't they say they're a 50/40/5, something like that? So they're not too heavy. I
no,
don't think.
they're not. They seem to
They
work
look
well across the
mental.
range. They give quite an even throw. But the thing you have to remember is where they're heavy, that pitch is heavier on the root here. This is the slowest spinning part of the prop.
Yeah.
The fastest spinning part's here, right at the tip, and you can see that's almost completely flat. And it's a bit tricky to get it up. But the actual prop, there you go. That's hardly got any angle on it at all. So, prop design's a huge subject.
I said it looked like a prop designed by committee because the trailing edge, it looks like it was designed with a ruler. It's got all sorts of line changes and all sorts, but clearly they know what they're doing because, yeah, it's funny that when the first reviews came out, they were like, I don't like these props. And the first thing I thought was, I do like these props. And there are other videos out there where they've like stuck a Dow Cyclone on and they've just said, this is man. I'm like, no, you need to. This is designed to run with these props, and that's it basically. I think if you stuck any other prop on there, it wouldn't perform. They've properly picked this and tuned it and all sorts. And yeah, it's funny that you say that you were one of the first to get it and you'll be one of the last to review it. The thing is, there's nothing come in between, so it'll still be relevant when you do your review. The only thing that it's missing is the smart audio for these days.
Yeah,
It doesn't have smart audio. However, I've heard some rumors that there's going to be a pro version. So we'll see. Just a rumor. I don't know. All of these, I think it's interesting actually that because like they've actually come from America, and there's a chap called, I don't know if you've heard his name. I think his name, I'm sorry if I've got your name wrong. I think it's Brandon Cruz. You ever heard of this guy? He designed the Baby Hawk. I think, and again, I could have this wrong. I think he designed the View XL goggle. And so the Baby Hawk are, and now this is the same guy behind all three of those. So I think they're sort of going off the success.
Right.
Yeah, and it's a guy in the USA rather than in China. I think he's basically maybe become a correspondent for Emax and just like said, no, this is what we want, and just clearly just got it right, you know, rather than just piling components on stuff and hoping that it works.
Well, I can assure you won't be the last reviewer because I haven't got one. I tried to get one a couple of months ago, and then there was this slight screw up. But I'm gonna carry on trying since you guys love it so much. I'm desperately jealous and want to fly one.
Somebody played a synthesizer in the background.
That sounded like some what's it attacking? You know,
that was some oik on a motorcycle outside my house. I do apologise.
Oh no! The ones you've told me about how they ruin your videos.
Yeah.
I've just someone in the chat, Tom Allslop, said, "Evening all. I just joined, and there are more viewers here than the RC Group's podcast, and people are saying this one's better than theirs. So cheers." And Andy, is this really you or your brother? Because you're not naked.
What?
You're wearing a hoodie. You're wearing way too much clothes.
Okay.
I don't believe it's actually him.
Well, I'm very conscious to all of these comments that I keep getting about
is that
how I don't wear enough. Now I kind of feel how, you know, the transgender community feels at the moment with all of this, you know, hatred towards them, and you know,
we don't hate you.
Kind of feel the same about my low cut tops there. So I'm covering up, and at Mini Air Show, because the sun will be out, I shall basically be wearing a bin bag over my entire face. I'll put an Andy RC sticker on the bin bag so you know it's me, but it might not. I'm getting absolutely toasted at the moment. Another reason why I'm covering up.
Is everyone organised and ready? I've been like half a day getting ready.
I saw
batteries and everything.
I saw a picture, Tony, that you posted, and it looked like you're going for about 10 weeks.
It looks like he's taking TV with him from that picture as well.
To be fair, I've had to pick up. Brad has dropped off about 1 billion flags, so I've got my cars full up with so many flag poles and flags and stuff like that. Yeah. So quite a lot of that was stuff for the track and stuff.
Are you taking the doggies with you? Or
no, they're going to their nans tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
but I'm going to miss them for 3 days. You're going to your nan-nans, aren't you? They like it. They get spoiled.
Everyone here's going, right? We're all
Yeah.
going. Sweet.
Yeah.
So be good to have us all in one place. I
It
think.
will.
So the setup start tomorrow. Is that what's happening?
Well,
Yeah.
kind of.
Why
What?
kind of, Jack? I'm ready to set up tomorrow.
Fraser can't get hold of a van, so he might be a little bit late.
What time's everyone getting there?
I don't know, but you know, with you're going to leave at 4 in the morning anyway.
Probably.
And that's what you do.
Yep. I like to live life to the full.
What I don't understand is Andy RC is boiling hot, so he puts a fan on in his room, but then wears a hoodie.
Yeah, because I don't want to be discriminated
worried.
for.
He doesn't want to wear his wife beater
I
anymore.
feel like how Joshua Bardwell feels with his dress. You know, I'm feeling conscious. So I'm covering up is what's going on, and I've
Could
got
have just put a t-shirt on, I suppose, instead. Or do you not own those? Is it just constant vests and hoodies?
can't buy t-shirts up here. What are you talking about?
They haven't invented sleeves up there
You
yet.
struggle to buy a jumper up here.
Yeah, no Twitch stream this weekend. I was trying to get these guys to play Stardew Valley with me, but no one will.
Well, I didn't know what it was. First of all, why don't we all? Do you know what I've been?
Can we
doing?
play after?
Do you know what I've been doing? I've been going on Liftoff, and the multiplayer's working, and I've just been randomly going in Liftoff, and that's been kind of cool because people will, because I've got my name as Andy RC, and people will just join and completely thrash me. But I thought like that'd be awesome. Why don't we do something like that? Because it's really good. The multiplayer on Velocidrone and Liftoff is brilliant. So
I agree. I own both of those already, so I don't.
Yeah, I own Velocidrone. We could have a bash.
I don't, but I could.
Yeah, I actually think Liftoff's more accurate when it comes to racing. But
I
thought Velocidrome was better in terms of the feel of the quad.
Oh well, this is where it's all going to kick off, isn't it?
what do you think, NJ? Which one?
Personally, I think Velocidrone is where I sit. But the two have alternated. They've alternated. You know, the very first iteration of Liftoff was amazing. Then they broke all the physics and ruined it, and then it got really good again, and then bad again. And I think it's great now. It really is. But Velocidrome for me, just at the end of the day, this is what I say to everyone about simulators. Which one feels the most like your quad? That's the one you use.
I think there's something else going on with me in that I crash less in Liftoff. So I think maybe Velocidrone's more realistic, but I crash less in Liftoff, so it's my favorite.
I have a medium shirt that the test shirt that looks really strange.
Wow, that's like a one-off, like special thing.
So if you want a medium shirt and you're at the at Mini Air Show, all you've got to do is
don't say kick me or something. I know you're going to say something. Slap Tony and you'll get it for free.
If you pants Tony, you get it for free. Tony, wear a belt constantly.
I do.
Another thing I was thinking I will do when I'm there at Mini Air Show is I'm going to give away a few things because I'm feeling super generous since returning. So I've as usual with Banggood, whenever they send me stuff to review, they sometimes send me 2 or 3 of the same thing for no reason whatsoever. So I have a set of goggles to give away, although they are probably better suited to a wing pilot, but they're still nice. And I'll tell you what I will do. I'll probably give away a couple of my favourite battery because Ready Eddie have sent me over a brand new big fresh box of my favourite 95C 1500 milliamp 4S battery. So we'll devise how we're going to be giving some stuff away, I guess. Maybe add it to some of the competitions that are won. Or maybe I'll hold my own one of some kind.
The question is, are these goggles, are they going to have all your nose changes? Optimization?
They're going to be piled with sugar or whatever it's called.
You know what? I may actually do that, Wayne. That's a really good point. You know, the Sky Zones, which obviously I use my Fat Shark Dominators back there. I don't use the Sky Zone Sky 03s, but they're very good, and they've had my custom nose mod done to them, so they will fit a Western nose compatible.
Are you
so
not
yeah, I
sending
may
them
give
back?
those away.
Are you not sending them back though? So they can.
No, I've customized them. They're going to be better than whatever they send.
No, but they're apparently, even though no one's been contacted yet, that apparently they're changing the DVR as well. So it might be worth keeping. It might be worth, unless you're done with them. I've been keeping hold of mine just in case, because I've got a friend who received that Onway V2s, and those also have got some issues. So once again, we had Fat Shark on the show last week, and everyone was complaining about Fat Shark with the HDO, but still people are struggling to match them. So have you had a chance to look at the HDO stuff, NJ, or just completely removed from it?
I haven't. I was just going to quite simply buy a set just so I could get my hands on some to check out, but they are quite expensive. I'll tell you what I am interested in, having a little peruse of some of the hobby stores to see what's new. Can anyone tell me anything about this new Immersion RC Rapid Fire module? Has anyone got one?
Yes. I can tell you it's better than Clearview, and no one should buy Clearview. Actually, that's not from me. I think Joshua Bardwell mentioned that Rapid Fire is where it's at, and that no one's. I've certainly not got one, and I'd have to buy one probably. But it's sounding good, yeah. So
they look interesting, and I've actually finally got an email back from Clearview saying, and they said they are going to send me a module once they've addressed some of the issues that they had. I know there was that problem with the PCB that they claim to have had, and they're now sending out new ones once it had been retooled and remanufactured. So they're going to send me a new version of that, and then I'll try and get hold of one of these Rapid Fires, but they seem to be out of stock everywhere as per usual.
I think
great timing for Immersion RC. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, I was just going to say, I made some very subtle comments to Sand Assassin in Skype saying things like, do you think I could have one?
You're so cryptic.
Which he somehow ignored that one, but answered all my other questions. But I was I'm excited about it for a different way. Apart from the fact that it does the merging of the two images, he claims it works with the old Immersion RC 600 modules, which sounds really pointless to a lot of you people. But
the one's that big.
5 of those planes back there have them in buried.
When you say you mean 600, you mean 600 milliwatts?
Yeah.
BTX. Works with it as in what way?
We didn't say that live on air.
I think I've got one in here somewhere.
Yeah. The problem is that the RX 505 or what is it? No, our 5805 modules don't work with the original IRC 600s, which is all down to this modulation problem. So the newer models will work with them. The old ones do this weird rolling screen thing. It looks absolutely awful.
Oh right, yeah, I've been getting that on my old 600 with the Fat Sharks. So that's what you're referring to there.
Yeah, I did a test. So I put in my Next Wave module, flew out to like 1.5 kilometers on a wing, all perfect. Put in one of the diversity modules that basically the same thing everybody has, and all rolling horrible thing. Because I thought I had a faulty set.
Oh, I'm getting that with my. I'm actually in the process of updating my Alien because it's got one of those 600s in. Because it's doing that, and I didn't realize. Okay, so my Alien's fine.
That's what it is. If you've still got a Next Wave module, put it in, and you'll see it's perfect again.
Yeah, I probably have somewhere. Yeah, it's a good. I thought it had become faulty, the VTX. That's really interesting. Although 600 milliwatt these days, you can't really fly it. Not at any events, anyways, or anywhere because it's illegal, kids.
Yeah, I mean, this is just for reference purposes, obviously.
It's safe.
And for me, flying in different countries and all planets. But there you go. I still don't want to dig them out of the 5 planes there.
Yeah, if anyone ever asks any questions, just say it's a private island. Go away, and I'm the authority there.
Do you want to know what I've been up to?
Yes,
not
please.
really.
All right, fine, okay.
I do, Jack.
I do too.
So do I.
No.
Go on, then. I do.
You've been twitching. You've been building clocks. You've been playing Resident Evil, and anything that Jack does, I see this troll in the comments and it's Tony just saying things like "set fire to it" and stuff like this.
Show him the scary schematics of the scan thing you're doing. The scan line down below.
Oh my god! So I was like, I'll get an upscaler because I've managed to pick up a
What's an upscaler?
I don't know, but I'm going to be building one,
Awesome.
and it's official. I hate you, Andy RC.
Why? What did I do?
I have a 7-page Mouser order, and I've been going through individual components and having to buy 7 of everything, and some of it I can't even find, and some of it's end of life.
If you didn't do it though, Jack, I'd be just sitting here on my own, just crying into my hands. So, you know, you think you're helping me in that sense, you know.
Someone's got a short ground on their audio equipment.
It sounds like a guitar's plugged in.
Yeah, it is.
Not plugged in. It could be me, but I don't think.
Someone wiggle individually. Andy RC, move around.
That was just an excuse to make me look like a tit, wasn't it?
Is it you, NJ? You're new. It's a new sound.
Not me.
You're the guitar lord. Is it me?
I wanted to ask NJ actually.
Who was that?
Who was that? Someone did it then.
I didn't
think
move.
it's Curry Kitten.
Watch the green bars. Watch the green bars. When the offending noise arrives.
Anything?
No, nothing.
No.
Ghost in the system.
Ghost in the shit, yeah.
Sorry, what are you saying, Andy?
I was saying, so like you've had this break on your YouTube channel because you've been out gigging with Kim, and are we going to see some videos on your YouTube soon?
Videos of well, not of music stuff, no.
No, I mean videos of actually though. There's another thing I wanted to ask, because while you were on tour, you took your Mavic out.
I did. I took the Air with me so that I could get some nice shots of all the beautiful coastline and various other, because we literally went up and we went right up to Glasgow, down to Yeovil. We went literally and everywhere in between. So yeah, I've got some really nice Mavic Air footage, and I've had a good chance to kind of get to know the drone a bit, and yeah, it's brilliant. It's an amazing drone in competition only with itself.
Are you? Yeah, exactly. Are you going to do a like a montage for your channel or anything like that? Or
I definitely will. I'm really interested as well. Within the next few weeks, I'm thinking about trying to get some nice static shots with the Air whilst I fly my mini quad around. Yeah. To see if I can get some interesting footage, having that as a second camera perspective. Like one of the things I was thinking of was having the drone up above the canopy, pointing down, and then coming up with the mini quad and doing some risky stuff. See if I can get some interesting angles for.
If you can manage to break it by colliding.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's see.
I've had a go at that before, and I've got a friend who has a Mavic, and the only thing that we get is I think you do tend to get a little bit of interference on your video feed when running them, because they're very powerful, the DJI stuff, and it's Wi-Fi, you know. So and I think it depends which DJI you use actually, because some of them run on 5.8. I think they switch sometimes as well.
You can manually set it to either.
Yeah, you can get some interference, but I've done it before. The one thing that will surprise you the most is how close you have to get to the Mavic in order for it to be a good shot.
Yeah, it's crazy FOV fisheye, isn't it? So
yeah, if anyone can do it though, it's you. I'd love to see I'd love to see some of that footage of the rocks that we went to, because that looked epic on your
yeah, that from the Peak District. Yeah, that's probably some of the best footage actually that day when we flew out, and that was amazing actually, because when Andy and I went to this spot, or that Andy took to me, which I think you guys had all been to the week before, it's so weird because these valleys and these big mountains, when you fly away, like to my mind, I was like, what's that, about a kilometer? And then Andy looked down and we were nearly 3 kilometers away.
Yeah, 2,700 meters. It was absolutely nuts, but perfect video quality and reception. So, have you heard about the Phantom 4?
I was just going to ask that.
We just saw
So it's not a Phantom 5 then?
No,
it's a bit
What
lazy.
have they done then?
I think they can afford to put their feet up a bit in the R&D department. I don't think they've got much to worry about, because there's no other company that are coming near them, are there? So
No.
why not
What
put a couple of versions
have they done
up?
then? Put a Phantom 4.1 or what?
it's barely like. Do you know what's funny as well? They did the Phantom 4 Obsidian, which was just the Phantom 4 painted black, and then they've got and now the Phantom 4 V2, and all they've done is that the first one uses something called Lightbridge, and they've added OcuSync, so apparently slightly lower latency on the video, but who cares about that? It's a GPS quad that's got too much latency even with OcuSync.
So the latency's gone from yesterday to today, basically.
yeah, that's it. So the Mavic uses OcuSync. And what was the other thing that they've done as well? Oh, they've made it 40% quieter than the original, which is surely just going to be a different set of props, I would imagine.
How do they measure that? See, there's a thing about the way decibels and noise scales, and it's non-linear, so I don't understand how they give you a linear
thing. I think 1 decibel above the last one is a lot louder or something.
Yeah, so I don't know how they can
it's like
work out a percentage for that, but
isn't it like 4 dB is double or something like that? Yeah. So, but they did exactly the same with the Mavic, and actually it worked. I've got a friend who bought the new Mavic props because they brought the Mavic Platinum out, and they did exactly the same. Said it's much quieter, and it is. It's a lot quieter. But he just went and got the Mavic Platinum props and put it on his old one, and then
it's just prop design. Unless they're actually redesigning the body as well, then if it's quieter, it's just a different set of props. And maybe a different KV if they're going for a lower KV and a flatter blade profile.
Yeah. It still flies for the same amount of time though, same camera. And I do actually think at some point DJI are going to have to bring out something like new, because just these small changes, I can't see anyone, if they've already got the original one. And I would say if you're into this, then you probably already have one by now. I'd be very surprised if the sales of these little changes are going to be massive.
Speaking of changes, or rather non-changes, I was very surprised to finally start upgrading stuff before I went out for my fly this evening, to see that Betaflight has been on 3.2.2 for quite some time. Very uncharacteristic of Betaflight. I know the RC's under development, isn't it, for 3.3?
Oh no, we're on 3. We're on 3.3.1 now, I think.
Yeah, or I think it's 3.3. Yeah,
I'm confused. Hang on.
I got a ready to fly quad on 3.3.
No. I'm talking rubbish. Let me get my versions.
Everyone's left to go work on Betaflight.
Sorry, 3.3.2 is what I mean. That's been around for quite a while now, hasn't it? And it's the latest.
Yeah, it's been around for a while. Yeah.
What's a while in the quad talk about? Like 2 days?
4 days, yeah. No, I think what Andrew's probably getting at as well, I imagine that, I know you try a lot of the early releases, so maybe there's a bit of that in it as well, because I think 3.3 as a sort of early unstable release or whatever has been around for quite a while. But
6 days, lol.
People are switching to Betaflight now though, because I've tried it, and I do think it's better. I don't think it's enough to make the switch, but it's definitely better when it comes to prop wash oscillations, and it's slightly smoother as well, I think. Actually feels a bit more. It's funny because I flew my Kiss copter the other day. It felt a lot more like Kiss than Betaflight.
I've not touched Betaflight yet because I wanted to see things stable out a little bit more, but I will try it. Although, as I said, with that Emax this evening, it was brilliant. No prop wash, just none. It was amazing.
Well, I think Kebab FPV put Betaflight on the Emax 5, and I have to say his footage looked great. And the good thing about Betaflight as well is that it's not like any difference to Betaflight, so there's no learning curve. It's the same. So it's an easy switch if you want to try it. I'd recommend trying it, honestly. The thing is though, like, I think a lot of people are so loyal to Betaflight because it's got so much development, and I think Betaflight has less people working on it.
Yeah, I think with Betaflight as well, it's just so good. If it flies great, if it's doing everything I want it to do, and the prop wash isn't there and it's just perfect, then I just don't feel the need to move away from it. That's been most of the time when I have switched through Raceflight, through KISS, or all of these different flight controllers and firmwares. It's been in pursuit of a certain feel, and I think Betaflight's really got it nailed at the minute. Blood's actually cleared that up. The latest one is only 6 days old. Whoops. But 3.3.1 was out for 4 weeks before the latest release. So yeah, it's quite a long time for Betaflight.
That's probably just before you went on tour. I would say.
Wow, that lasted a whole NJ on tour. That is a long time.
Tour's worth of
That's a lot of cocaine and hookers.
I can confirm there was none of that around, unfortunately.
You the hooker? I don't know what you're on about. Your skimpy little tops, your tarts. You're lucky his wife doesn't find out.
Skimpy tops, I don't know.
Isn't it? Old boob tube over there.
I only wear the small tops because I'm just always too hot all the time.
Just too hot. Too hot for YouTube. I'll just add that into the tags.
Oh, Jesus.
Bear with me.
I mean hot as in temperature. Sorry, I should say heat, because heat and temperature.
Yeah, I'm going to stick Betaflight. I might stick it on the Diatone Racer just to try out these missile filters.
They still haven't released that, and it's my fault because I keep they gave me a couple. I found some massive issues with them, and so yeah, and they've just found another issue, so they're pushing it back again. So, but I think it's going to be a nice quad when it comes out. But that's why it hasn't come out, because of me.
And I see there's a lot of speed gun testing going on lately.
Yeah, I kind of got a bit addicted to it, really, because
lots of versus videos.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I got I think I'm always interested in how a motor and the ESC performs, and I've talked to you about this in the past about thrust stands and how a thrust stand is pretty useless tool in the hobby, and because you'll and I've done it as well. I've got a thrust stand. It'll give you all these figures, and you're none the wiser. And so what I thought I'd do is I've got a few of my quads that are flyable, and I've got this this speed gun thing, and it's been really interesting actually to see what different prop combinations, different motors and ESCs have effect on speed, and not just that as well. The state of size. I was actually, when I talked to you when I came to you at Buxton, I was unsure about the state of size, state of height, and I've talked about it on here before. And doing these speed runs has given me a lot more data on what stator width and height and prop choice does. And I'm actually I've done an extreme build here. I've found a 2204 motor that does 3000 kV.
Wow.
Which is crazy. It's actually designed for a 4-inch, but I'm trying to take it to the extreme to just see if stator size against weight, and because not just your prop pitch, prop weight is important as well, really important,
especially on high kV motors.
Yeah, exactly. So that the higher in kV you go, the more torque you need to get to those higher RPMs on the thicker props. So I've been experimenting with lighter props. In fact, there's a prop called the Dow 5051C, and it's the lightest prop. You might have seen them, really skinny blades.
Here, yeah.
Oh, you're so lucky. I got sent them. I bought some for this, and they sent me the wrong ones, so I can't do the test. But yeah, the idea with that is it's high in pitch, but it's lightweight. So in theory, a less torquey motor hasn't got to worry too much about the weight. It's got to worry about the pitch, because obviously that's a resistance. But yeah, anyways, that's what the speed gun has all been about, is to try and get my head around, because like everyone says, oh, that motor's brilliant, and look at the thrust that it produces, and then on a copter it's like, well, it feels like every other single motor. So give me a figure why it's better. And that is why, even though like a speed gun might not necessarily be like completely accurate every time, that's why I do lots of different runs. At least it tells me against all of the other models what it's doing in terms of performance, like in speed and that.
I want one of your 3 inches. What was it? 117 mile an hour was the top one or something?
112, yeah.
112.
Yeah, which is not.
That's crazy.
I struggled to get the 5 inches going that fast. The Emax Hawk 5 did 106, and my quickest ever reading was from a 6S, but a high KV 6S, 118, and I really struggle to get. I can't get anything to go faster than that. There's something about the drag and it's kind of like when you start getting into hypercars and they have to add like an extra 500 horsepower to go 10 mile per hour faster.
Yeah.
It's that sort of thing. But anyways, that's
induced drag. Yeah, it will start. There will be a point where it will start messing with it. But yeah, it's interesting. The thrust stand stuff is good. It can be good information, but it's very one-dimensional information. It can give you good. It's like having the quad in hover, where you've got a static load against the prop, but the minute you start revving the prop up to high power, and you've got, because remember, you've got a pressure either side of the prop, and that changes depending on the speed that the prop's moving through the air, and that affects efficiency and all kinds of other factors as well. And then you've got to bring drag into that, and having it stuck, the prop maxed out with a static resistance where the as if the quad isn't moving, that's not a realistic. That doesn't give you a realistic figure of the power curve. So yeah, it's those prop stands, static thrust things they give you some information, but on the whole, the only way to do it is to get it on the quad and actually go out and fly it. And it's incredibly subjective to the quad.
The geek in me needs to have an algorithm for this and a benchmark. Like, you come up with a standard quad benchmark based on using a bunch of sensors to think of things like motor heat and the KV and the prop and the overall speed and the drag factor, and then you put all those in this big thing and it comes out with a number, and that's your number of your relative quad performance.
You know what's interesting though as well? There's so many variables. Even a different flight controller can actually affect the quad speed. It's weird. I've got copters that have almost identical setups that give completely different speeds, where the only difference is the flight controller.
Sure.
And so
but it's all fly by wire, isn't it? You're only telling the controller what you want it to do, and then it does all the deciding. So
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I did say this. There's definitely a video that I will do, as I've been thinking about it for quite a long time, which was the idea. I think I spoke to you about this when we were driving to that Peak District spot, about the idea of doing a video called Throttle PIDs, which is a strange concept, but it's one where we look at tuning the throttle to you and your flying style, because what I like out of the throttle response might be completely different to what the rest of you do. So, but these are things that you need to be aware of to know how to tune the throttle to feel in line with how you have your quad tuned, for instance. But we just think of throttle as this linear, 0 to 100, go or stop. And I know plenty of people actually fly like that. It's 100% or nothing. Bloods saying that, not pointing at you at all. But for me, one of the big things that I have to have on a quad is when I'm falling and I want to stop like a couple of inches above the ground, and I want it to hit like a barn door. And there's nothing in the tune that's going to do that. You have to have you have to have a motor with the right amount of torque, and you have to have the correct prop match to that. You need, for me, and the way I like to fly, I've 2400 kV, 2450 is about perfect. A high torque motor and a prop that won't flex under load. So when you put the throttle back in, the prop won't actually twist and flatten out, where a light prop will do that with a high kV.
Deflection, that's called. Yeah, I've been learning about that because those thin blades apparently do that. So that's something I'm going to watch out for.
And you can find if you go for a lower kV motor like I'm running, but with a prop that does have a lot of that deflection problem where it flattens out, you end up with quite a spongy throttle. And why would you put up with a spongy, unpredictable throttle feel when the rest of your quad is absolutely razor sharp in the tune? So it's very important to get those two things well matched so that you get the feel. I mean, some people quite like the sponginess and they learn to fly to it, and they know to jam the throttle a little harder before hitting that point where they want to stop suddenly. For me, I want to bring the throttle to a set point and have it just stop dead and sit there. And I've got lots of examples of that in flight videos, and that is 100% down to proper motor choice. And I think it's an important subject that people tend to overlook, and it can be the reason for a crash. There's one video on my channel where I put a crash in at the end, where I crashed into a tree, and I'd spent the whole day doing close proximity to this tree with no issue at all. And then the last flight, I thought, oh, let me try out those new, it was one of the new V1S props, which had a lot more flex in it than the props that I was using at the time, which were the Cyclones. And I went and did exactly the same maneuver, and I put the throttle, put it in, and there was just that little bit of extra sponge, and it just went straight into the tree.
Or it was the last battery.
The final flight.
It's always the last battery.
Always put that one away.
Yeah, but I think it's an interesting thing. Getting it's as sharp as the rest of your tune.
I'd love to see that video, yeah, because like nothing that I'm doing with these speed tests has got anything to do with that. What I realize as well with the speed test is, like, usually, like, if someone approaches you, they ask you two questions. Well, they ask you a few, but they usually don't say hello either, which always bugs me.
They're like, I haven't seen you here before. Do you come here often?
No.
What a smashing blouse you have on, Andy, I'll say.
I don't wear a blouse out there. No way. That's just for this show, the blouse. They say, how much does it cost? How fast can it go? How high can it go? And usually no one just said, 60 mile per hour. And it actually seems that they're going a lot faster than 60 mile per hour, quite a lot faster. Even my slowest quad will report like 48, 50 mile per hour, and that's a little micro. And the micros are going much faster than we think. They're going faster than the 5-inch, less drag, more insane power, and less weight, stops quicker as well. I think 3-inch is the 3-inch models. I think they could really pounce all over 5-inch models in a race.
Yeah, I said that a few months ago.
Yeah, the lighter inertia as well. You could definitely corner them like houseflies.
That's the other thing as well. I've noticed I'm doing these runs that are 100 mile per hour plus, and you turn and they've stopped. So it's crazy. Yeah.
Dan Williams says, I got asked a new one. Are you a scientist?
That's quite a good one. I'd love that question.
And my last question was, do you have permission to be here?
Yeah.
Which is rich coming from someone who's walking through the field as well. What do you have?
No, they were probably, you probably got a bit of a suntan since you've been out. They were probably like, Brexit's happening. Like.
I got asked once, are you training for ISIS?
Really?
Yeah.
Not helping your racist card.
He said, are you working for ISIS? And then he said, did you know this used to be an airfield? And that's two weird questions put together. And yes, hello as well.
Did you say yes? I am.
No, I didn't.
No, don't say that.
I said I'm doing it to look in that window over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's 19.
But I don't know. Do you ever find they never say hello? It's the first thing I say. I say, hello, or all right. And
no, you go, hey up.
Hey up, yeah, hey up, and people just say, how fast it go, mate? I'm like,
How high does it go? How far?
Mind you, I did that at the castle when we went and saw the guys, didn't I?
Yeah,
You
that's
did.
quite funny.
You did.
I
That
walked
was
up to
funny.
them. I was like, "Hey, how fast does it? How high does that go?" And then the guy started answering me, took his goggles off, and just went, "Oh, it's that dickhead." Oh,
I think Green Patches put a good one here. You ever been flying and when you land and take off the goggles, there's a family quietly standing behind you?
Yeah.
I've had that, and it's scared the crap out of me.
It's funny. It's funny though because if you're stood there with goggles, people like will keep their distance. But if you're just there looking at it, they'll come up and talk to you. It's almost like they're afraid of you with the goggles on, which I like, of course.
I was out for the other day, 2 days ago, and we had a group of OAPs doing a walk past, and they all stopped and had a look. And one of my mates ran over with the goggles and handed it round, and they were like, "Oh, he's upside down!" And they were loving it. I think they'd been down the old pub.
Yeah.
But they really enjoyed it, and then we all just went over there and handed them the drones and looking around. They loved it.
Apparently, Ash got licked in the face by a dog while he was flying at the weekend.
Yeah,
good job he didn't get humped by it. Can you imagine? He's like that, and then it's just like.
Dogs are my biggest problem because the field I go to is quite inaccessible and it's only known about by professional dog walkers. So I get groups of like 7 to 12 dogs come up, and they either take great offence that someone's there with goggles on, which dogs don't recognise. So as a pack, they all start like woof, 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 and then they're in there, or they're super friendly and they come and jump all over your stuff. And because I just put my glasses down on the mat, and like it was like Scooby-Doo, where a Velma loses her glasses, and I was searching around for them on the floor because these dogs had come by and kicked them around. I was like, oh, terrible.
Nice.
Well, I imagine at Mini Air Show, you're going to have, from my experience from hanging out with these guys, there'll be fingers going in your ear, up your bum, all sorts of things.
I know they were horrified at what I got.
It was like my first time flying in a big group of people, and all I've got is like fingers being poked in me everywhere.
I bet they stole your lunch money as well, didn't they?
Oh, they stuck everything.
What lunch money? Northern.
My soul they stole. My dignity, definitely.
I even brought sun cream.
Oh yeah,
it was pointless for Wales.
What's the weather forecast for tomorrow?
Shush, let's not even talk about it.
Oh, should I not be looking?
I'm not looking.
I fitted windscreen wipers to my camera, so it's all fine.
I have got a waterproof cord.
So
who was it?
Wasn't me. I wasn't planning to get there until Saturday morning, but is the vibe to go down tomorrow during setup? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's when the dudes,
cool
dudes people go down there, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you should turn up.
Right,
I'm going down there to help set up basically. So I'm going to be there from probably 11 a.m.
Okay, I'll probably maybe I've got some stuff to do before I leave and dig out my tent and all that. So I'll probably maybe aim to get there sort of maybe 3, 4, something like that.
I think Friday night's going to be a good night when I've got a race Saturday and do a demo. But
all right, guys.
Try not to drink too much on Friday night.
Oh my god, what the hell is that?
That's like aliens attacking.
That was that guy again.
Is that all he does? Is drive up and down? He's like a horny 17-year-old who's just passed his test.
I thought
super low frequency. It sounds like you're being attacked by aliens.
Yeah, it does.
I thought that one was my stomach, if I'm being honest.
Right, guys. Who's setting up a server? Do you want me to do it or?
For what? I'm not on it, so you can set it up without me.
Well, you can come and hang out and that. Anyone? Yes? No?
What? Whilst we're on Let's Drone Out? Or
well, no. We'll finish and we'll go over to Twitch and play Velocidrone.
I can do till about 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I see. I've got a pack anyway.
Yeah,
I've still got to pack clothes and stuff.
Yeah, let's just play for half hour or something. Is that cool?
Cool with me.
All right.
Or I have to
Oh,
watch.
who was that? That's Tony. It's Tony.
I knew it.
It's not me.
I think he's bought a guitar to try and, impress the ladies.
Right, guys.
Yeah, I serenade them, shall I?
Yeah.
Right, we'll be over on Twitch. Follow that link and whatnot, and we'll see you in a bit and whatnot. And I will try and import your
is
cameras.
that it? Is Let's Throw It Out finished then?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
We've hit the hour.
that's it. Yep.
Okay.
What do you get?
Yeah. I don't. That's kind of what happens. We wanna play some video games. Right, tonight you've been joined by Andy RC,
Good night.
the front of house, NJ.
I like it. Very good. Musical term. Bye, everyone. See many of you tomorrow. Look forward to it.
Tony,
Bonjour.
Curry Kitten,
Goodbye, and I won't be there till Saturday.
See you then.
and I've been brought to Betaflight. I'll catch you guys later. Thank you.
Bye.
Peace.